Okay.
Welcome to Casual Nerdom, a place where you can be nerdy without being an expert. A place where you can be real without being woke.
Now, what do we mean by that? If you watch Game of Thrones and you don't know who made it, this is the place for you. If you are an MCU fan, you're not sure, you don't know everything about the comics, this is the place for you. This is a judgment-free zone to discuss everything nerdy.
I'm Chris Beykhun.
I'm Adrian Daniel, and welcome to Casual Nerdom. What's up, guys? Season 2, Episode 2.
S2E2. I know what that means now.
We're a little bit better set up from last episode.
We got 4K, y'all.
We got the camera set up better.
That on YouTube at your job.
We had some technical difficulties the first episode, but we're still working out the kinks. You know what I'm saying? This is just us pursuing our idea that we want to do together. So thank you for bearing with us. We appreciate it.
Yes. All right. So a lot happened. Let's do anime. I feel like.
Okay.
Because the main reasons we started the show is because there's a lot of people who watch anime, and there's a lot of people who want to talk about it. Mm-hmm. But I had this conversation, and before we get into like this particular shows, we talked about this a little bit in our season finale last season. But I got into like a short debate the other day about like gatekeeping, and I said, well, there's a lot of casuals now. Hence, you guys, and the ones who've been in it longer should not make people feel that they shouldn't be there because of their lack of knowledge.
I saw someone actually talk about that on Facebook. Yeah. I think that's very accurate. I agree.
Yeah, I don't think you should, because that's exactly why we went to these things in the first place. We felt like we were pushed out of the normal things, so we shouldn't make people feel like they have to now like know that launch was forgotten about by Akira Toriyama in order to be a real Dragon Ball Z fan. Like, that's not, they can have watched the entire series and not remember a lot about it, but that doesn't make them any less than a fan than someone else. You shouldn't make it feel bad for that. If anything, you should be in a place to, if they ask, you should educate. You should let other people know. If they do want to be experts, maybe they don't have to sit through the 10, 15 years we did of watching stuff in order to get this knowledge. Plus, the internet's there now, so it's our job to make people feel like they can be a part of this community. And that's my riff. I just feel like anime is a really big subject now, and I just feel like I want people to really feel like, hey, you can like only one show ever, and you're good enough for me. Like, you're good. Like, that's the whole point of the show.
Yeah.
If you want to hear about other stuff, you can always ask. Like, I have tons of knowledge about stuff. Adrian has tons of knowledge about stuff that fun facts, trivia. The reason why these top 10 lists exist is because of stuff like that. So
exactly,
don't always be afraid to find someone that you like and say, hey, like, I want to get more information. Join our discussions on our social medias. We're always talking about different stuff. So, what anime have you watched this week?
My usuals. I have my usuals. My Black Clovers.
Black Clover.
My Hero Academia.
Oh, some people trying to say it was overrated, bro. I don't even
know how people can even say.
I don't get that.
I literally there's not one time I watch an episode and I don't feel like inspired, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
They got they really had the formula. Like, I can't really think. There was a couple of filler episodes where it was like, okay, cool, it was a filler, but most of the time, like, you walked away like, man, like, I could, whew.
Yeah,
you really feel it.
You really do feel it. Like, you feel like the urgency, and you like on like simple things like saving a girl. It was like, it wasn't like it was like, their back was against the wall in the situation. It was just like they just needed to save a girl,
right?
And the way they're able to articulate the emotion that goes into how bad they want to do what they want to do, I think is a really, really, for me, as an artist, I think that's just a beautiful thing.
Right. I think, and every time we talk about anime, I'm always going to mention that they're in our cartoons. There's really excellent story writing and things that are used in cinematography. There is cinematography in anime, people. Don't ever think to yourself that these people are not. They're not framed. They're not shot in a certain way. You would think that is a real camera. Like, what series was I thinking about when they had the live action? I can't even remember the name right now. But there are so many that you would think you almost forget that it's all drawn. These guys are really good. So
Just a lot of life, like real life elements to the episodes. It's like, they know exactly what they're trying to get across to people, and I think I've always commended that about anime, in general.
That's why it's always, and we can always have a larger debate about sub versus dub in the future.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you watch it in subtitles, now I recently I used to be like, oh well, in English you always have the same guys, but in their field, there's also have a lot of people who play a lot of people. Because if you're good, you're good. So I will throw that argument out the window. I'm just gonna say that they kind of embody the character more. You feel like when you watch them speak and the characters that they're saying that. In English, you don't always get that. And it's not a lip flap thing. It's not. Because since Naruto, they've been matching up lip flaps since Dragon Ball Z, they've been doing that. To make sure that the English, go in sides with it. Because, they used to make fun of that in old movies. So it's not that, but like just the vocal performance always feels
I don't know. Like
more.
there's only like one anime where I like the English dubs.
Which was what?
Dragon Ball Z. That was the only one. Like the original Dragon Ball Z when it came out in Toonami. Like my favorites was Vegeta's and Piccolo's voice. Like to me, and their music. That's another thing. Like
yeah. There's a video about this, like the music that they like back in the day when anime was first before subs was a thing that was done professionally.
Yeah.
The voice acting on Dragon Ball Z, on even Sailor Moon, Ronin Warriors, they still brought their A game. That's why people like Christopher Sabat and all of them are famous now.
Yeah.
Because they were the ones that made you feel like Goku. Even that lame ass speech he said to Frieza, which was not what he originally said.
Yeah.
On the hope, you felt that. You was like, oh, hey, Goku, I'm in. Like nowadays, it doesn't always feel that way. Especially if once you get to know the voices, then you kind of hear them.
Yeah, super. English is terrible.
Like, because All Might's voice is a voice of like mad people. So when you watch a lot of dubbed anime, you're gonna recognize the guy because it's always gonna be the same kind of timbre.
Yeah.
But over there, when they do it, it could be one guy doing 5 different characters, and you'll only recognize that it's the same guy if someone tells you. Then you have to listen to them on talk, and then you'll hear it. And that's a craft. Because, it's not easy to get lost and make another character. Like, as you said, as an artist, and being able to make another character, and we believe that, like, to the point where, like...
Yeah.
Like, I will say this is not anime, but it's like Power does a good example of that. Like, the people, like, really don't like the character, period. Like, they don't like Tyreek, like, in real life. And that's because, like, he's bringing at least he's embodying the character really well. They do that same thing. A lot of times animation could suck, but if the voice acting is on point and they get the music right, and back then Dragon Ball Z, they was making the original music and they was killing it. They had it. Like if you watch old Naruto, you can tell like in English, especially back when they was dubbing it, like back when like was it Hulu first started taking them up dub like from the internet. And you could tell like they would put the music in different places. They would have silence, and Dragon Ball Z utilized silence. That was the first one to show. I remember like shit would go quiet, and you'd be like, oh, like when Vegeta was just about to sacrifice himself, there was no music.
Yeah.
And I felt like, but in English they started to add more music in Dragon Ball Z, and I felt like because they think we need to be stimulated, but there's beauty in like nothing, no sound outside of like the fighting.
Yeah.
Like think of the last scene of S. Cryad.
True. I don't know.
See,
I always just appreciated the music in Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. I just always did. Like people don't realize how much the soundtrack to things makes you feel in it and the emotion of it. Yeah. Like anytime Vegeta showed up, his theme song was just so badass because you knew. You know what I mean? Like you knew like this is what he was about. Like don't ever get it twisted. You know what I'm saying? So it was
Cell's theme, Frieza's theme,
Piccolo's theme.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying? Like
that of the year.
So, and I the reason why I say that because I think about the Avengers soundtrack and the score for that and how that played a part. And just in that moment when Captain America said, "Avengers Assemble." And the music that led up to that and how they just set that tone. They knew we about to drop this right here. It's going to freak people out. You know what I mean? And it's just like that just makes, to me, just really good entertainment.
It makes a moment, man.
Yeah, it makes a moment. So My Hero Academia is really good at that, though.
And that's the thing that I want to tell people. Like, I know someone said, oh, well, My Hero is better, or Demon Slayer is kind of taking a hype. I was like, I understand.